I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Man Listen Show. You can go to our link in our bio. Click that link. You can get our merchandise, get our books. You can go to our Cash App, bang a little money on our Cash App, support the show, and just make sure you tell everybody about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mar B. Let's bring the crew in. All right, shout out to C. So, Democratic National Convention has been going on. You know, the final night of the convention is going on. We're waiting for VP Harris to come on. What are y'all thoughts for the week, man? Have they done a good job of motivating their base with this convention? I think like when Joe first said, hey, listen, I'm not going to run and I'm backing Kamala. I think some people were kind of hesitant on whether she could, get the base motivated, get them all on one accord. Does it seem like she's got everybody in line?
I mean, the thing with a convention is that's what it's always going to appear to be, right? I don't know that in our lifetime there's been a convention where people just at odds, or was it contested? So that's kind of.
No, I remember. It was Hillary and Bernie. I think it was Hillary and Bernie. You remember Bernie was really strong. There's a lot of people that was going for Bernie Sanders, and they were kind of trying to negotiate who was going to step down. Was it going to, or who was going to fold? Was it going to be Hillary or Bernie? And I remember seeing a lot of people say that, that's typical of Democratic conventions, kind of just like being, running gun and a lot of arguing and going back and forth. So it's happened before.
Well, I'm talking about what I've seen on TV. I've never seen them arguing on TV. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a big sales convention, basically, to me, where you rallying your troops to get everybody to be on the same page, to go out and sell your product.
Yeah.
It seemed to me like it's a big old party. I couldn't believe there were performers and DJs and I don't know, a bunch of grandstanding. There's a whole bunch of talking bad about the other candidate. It just wasn't the classy affair I expected it to be. I was like, oh, this is nothing like what I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, I think she's definitely got people fired up. I think we've talked about before how there are some people who are hesitant because of Joe's age that have now been like, okay, well, that issue at least is resolved. I know that there are some people who still take issue with the Democratic Party's response to Gaza, but I think that for the most part, they do have the party's attention. They do have people fired up.
Yeah. The one thing I like about them is in the past, I think Trump has been somewhat of that maverick that people liked. He was against the status quo, saying what he wanted to say. But now it seems like he's gone too far, like with the personal attacks. Like this dude said he looked better than Kamala. Now, say what you want to say about Kamala, but she's a beautiful woman, right? So,
but the week before he said Kamala looked like his wife,
which is nuts.
And so basically, anyway, go ahead, finish. Man.
He's a mess. Remember when he was running against Jeb Bush? He said Jeb's a mess. Trump's a mess. He's a mess. But I like what they're doing from a strategic standpoint, because if you look at her daily comms team, when they put out their press releases, they are antagonizing Trump's camp. They say they put out little quips talking about 78-year-old felon has a rally at this small town or something. So they're being real snarky and everything, putting all that stuff out. Hell, even Obama and Michelle, even they were out there. That, you know, Michelle was famous for that. When they go low, we go high. We got Southside Michelle the other night. You know what I mean?
Yeah. She ain't in office. Yeah.
Right. So, and the thing about it is, and I'm gonna come back to Michelle. The thing about it is though, and the reason why I say it's strategic, because all that does is trigger him more, because they've been trying to, you know, rail him in, say, hey man, stick to the facts, stop with the personal attacks. And the day after the Obamas went on there, he was like, did you see Barack Hussein Obama and Michelle? Do I have to stick to the facts now? You know what I mean? So it's like they're playing psychological operations with this dude, and it's winning. But I want to say this, and I've always said this before: Barack would not have been in office were it not for Michelle. And if she had a taste for politics, like obviously she has a taste for politics, she speaks up and she's a spokesperson for the party. But if she had a taste or even a hint of a desire to be in office, she would win hands down. Absolutely, hands down.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's becoming even more evident after he left the White House that I'm not gonna say he's a Michelle Obama creation, but she was a huge. I mean, it wasn't 50. She was a huge part of creation of Barack Obama that we see today.
He needed her. I mean, I can't remember where it was at. I saw somewhere on the internet. I can't find the facts, or whatever, but I think they said something about he was dating a white woman at one point in time, and he said he realized that he would have to, and I'm paraphrasing 1,000%, but basically he would have to change his whole persona to live in her world, and he knew that he couldn't be successful operating in that way. Now, I think that Barry is a chameleon. I think Michelle, yeah, she's a politician, so maybe there's a little hint of inauthenticity when it comes to her. Barry is straight performative. You know, Barry put on the black voice and you know, listening and all that old shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, you was raised by some white folks from Kansas living in Hawaii. You know, you don't talk like that, bro. Like, come on now.
Well, maybe now.
Maybe now. Yeah. Now.
Been on the South Side enough. He'd have been around his new family members long enough that he then picked up some swag along the way for sure.
Hi, I'm Marika Moore, and if you want to get all up in my business, you should check out my new book, Unsolicited Marriage Advice, where I provide an analysis of the best marriage advice that I've received over the past 16 years or so. So head on over to Amazon and buy it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that she's a big part of his success, and he doesn't doubt that, or you know, he doesn't dispute that at all. But it's crazy to see how much support she actually has. Like, she just started talking and people in the audience were like crying. I was like, man, Michelle, like Michael Jackson. Like, she moving people to tears. All she did was walk on stage.
Yeah, if she go out there with a jock strap and a carpal tunnel glove, we know.
and just stand there for like 12 minutes.
Hey man, my homeboy tried to tell me, he said, man, Prince is better than Michael Jackson. I said, listen, let me tell you something, man. I see Michael Jackson go to motherfucking Czechoslovakia, stand on the stage with some high water pants, a jock strap, and a carpal tunnel glove, and had white women falling the fuck out. He ain't say nothing for 10 minutes. Hey, without the internet. Don't tell me nobody's bigger than Mike. Get out of here.
Ever.
I wouldn't say bigger than Mike, but I think that it just becomes a question of whether you like a performer or a musician. And I think that's where the differences lie between people that like Mike and Prince differently. So, but yeah, the impact that Mike had, that's why I'm like, Michelle out here just.
Right. Yeah. She definitely.
My friend was like, oh, and she went out there with her arms out with no sleeves on. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. And the long vacation braids. Everybody get from vacation. Like, when I leave here, I'm going back on vacation. I'm just here for a second.
So she spoke, and Oprah, who was another black woman that America loves.
Train of thought. Michelle is a black woman that black women love. White women love her too, but black women love.
Yeah.
So Oprah's a black woman that white women love.
Maybe now, but I mean, I think black women love Oprah too. You know, maybe not in year, and you know, that would be more of our parents or aunties type generation. You know what I mean? So we might not necessarily know.
Either way, it's successful. I'm sorry to cut
It's
you.
successful. Yeah, no. So you were talking about Barack being very performative and everything like that. And Michelle, she just seemed like that was who she is. That seemed like the real Michelle. Like you said, she's not in the office. I mean, they're not in the office anymore. She was on vacation. She's like, man, okay, I'm gonna come and do y'all this solid, and I'm gonna spit that real, then I'm gonna go back, and that's the real Michelle, man.
Who else you think did a good job throughout this convention? Anybody else stand out to y'all?
I mean, well, obviously the fact that the DNC took the time to highlight gun control issues and have people who were victims or whose family members were victims of mass shootings or, just different forms of gun violence. Because I think one woman said her mom was killed from gun violence and her niece was killed from gun violence in two separate incidents. And it's just like for them to even highlight something that is clearly an issue for most people, but then you have the gun lobbyists who really kind of hijack what actually really happens with gun control laws. So I thought that was big for them to harp on what they are really going to stand behind. Because I think sometimes with politics and politicians, they try to, walk the line as much as they possibly can. So for them to say, no, we are going to protect abortion, we are going to do something about gun control, these are major issues that people really kind of fall on one side or the other, where you could really risk rubbing some people the wrong way. I thought it was important that they touched on gun control and had those people speak up there, even though it made me cry.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch a single second of the Republican convention, so I don't have anything new compare it to. But again, back to the theme of Black women, Jasmine, what's her name? Jasmine Crockett out of Texas.
I'm waiting. Jasmine Crockett, yeah.
She was on Monday.
Bleach blonde, butch built, whatever.
Yeah. Which I didn't know, but she's from St. Louis originally. I didn't know that. But I think what also helped them is that you could see the diversity. When I saw just highlights of the Republican, it was all just white men on stage. Just all white men.
Hulk Hogan's racist ass.
Yeah, Kid Rock,
Yeah.
But I think the Black women have been standing out.
Yeah. I think I'm inspired by it. Maybe inspired is not the word. I'm happy to see the feedback that people have been giving the convention. Haven't been able to watch it 100%, but a lot of the feedback I've seen from a lot of the people who have spoken has been positive. A lot of people talked about Tim Walz. Is his name Tim Walz?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Walz. They talked about how his speech, how he really brought home and solidified why he is the VP candidate that she needed to have. Clinton. Folks said Clinton. They said Clinton was looking old, man. They said Clinton is old. Clinton was 78. He's about the same age as Biden.
Right.
They said Clinton was looking old, but he still was able to bring it in. So and my thing is, when people leave this convention, the people that are there, they need to go back out to where they are from and work in the communities and to be able to change things. And I'm working on an idea that I have. I live in a state where it's going to be hard for us to turn Texas red. It's just hard to do. So yes, I'm going to vote. I will be voting for Kamala, but I have to find other ways to have an impact, whether that's donating money, whether that's volunteering time, working phone banks, calling, convincing other people to vote. But there's an idea that I have, because a lot of these swing states, they're within the areas of margin. It looks positive for Kamala, but we really need to target those states. So I was sitting there thinking, and y'all tell me what y'all think about this. If we look at North Carolina, where Lab lives, right? If we look at that as being a swing state, and that's 16 votes in the Electoral College, would it be beneficial for people who say, hey, listen, let's target those funds at these states? I may not live in that state, but let me talk about funds so that we can give it to the people who are on the ground, who can make a difference and to flip that key state. My vote, yeah, it's symbolic. Yes, it matters. It has to be. I have to do it. But would I be more productive with my funds if I donated to North Carolina, Philadelphia, Michigan, Arizona, to make sure that we flip those states to make sure that we get the outcome that I think most of us want?
Yeah, I think that actually would be a good targeted plan uh to do. You still voting in Texas.
Mhm.
It's but like you said, it's not wasting your money, but definitely getting into places where it's still in play. Texas doesn't appear to be in play.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
because obviously there's still the local elections that definitely need to be addressed. So obviously, we still have to get out and we have to vote. But
Mhm.
again, it's those swing states that because I looked at the electoral college map and you can see everyone that was red, they always red or leaning red. You can see all the coast, the coast, they call them the coastal elites, the California, the New York, the upper northeast, how that is, primarily blue. But it's those swing states that we have to put into play. And that's really what Trump flipped when he ran against Clinton. He really did that. So I think that is something that I'd like to see the Democrats put more of an emphasis on that. I'm skeptical because we've talked about it before. It's hard to get some people to look at the bigger picture and
Mhm.
say, well, why would I give my money to somewhere where I don't live? And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe you split it up. Maybe you give some to where you
Yeah.
live to impact where you at. But then, hey, listen, if I got, say if I got a Facebook group, 200 something people, or we got a fraternity or a sorority where there's about 100 people in our chat group or whatever. And we all say, listen, we all gonna give $50, $25. That may make a difference. That may make a
Mhm.
difference in some community in switching, from red to blue.
I agree. I think also too, like you said, connecting with the local grassroots organizations in those areas. Like most people don't realize that there are local NAACP chapters that you can join. And then if like we have more influence over our younger chapter members and our organizations than we really think about. So connecting with chapters in those swing state areas and helping them to organize some things to get other people on campus, those first time 18-year-old voters, that little 18 to 22 window, and then helping them to see the bigger picture and have an impact and influence on the people that they're around. I'm always trying to mobilize the young people because they have more energy than we do, so the more we can help them do, the better.
I was on a call, and it was highlighting the state of Arizona, and I received it from fraternity brother, me and Labs, and I was like, well, why am I going this call about Arizona? But they put in the invitation. Yeah, you may not be in Arizona. This is where I got this idea from. You may not be in Arizona, but all swing states matter. And on the call, they had people coming on that were saying, hey, listen, I'm with this organization, we do this. I'm with this organization, we do that. Now, Arizona, immigration is a big piece of what
Mhm.
they do, right? They did have some Black women come on and talk. But I just think that this is a sound strategy. Hopefully, people that listen to this can take that forward and say, hey, listen, let's go ahead and target and be real specific. Instead of having a shotgun, let's have a rifle approach at these certain markets so we can try to be strategic and flip these states to where we need them to be.
Yeah, and I think North Carolina is really ripe for it. There's a two-term uh Democratic governor.
Mhm.
They so they're definitely open to. I never really understood people who split their ticket on governor and presidential election, but I mean, there's a lot of people that do apparently. And the guy who's the Republican candidate is a black guy here who's running for governor who is terrible.
Is that the dude that was like big black dude?
Yeah, Mark Robinson. Yeah,
Got
he's
man,
horrible, man.
awful man,
So
awful.
so I believe even more people are going to get out there to vote against him because that's really how terrible he is. And I think North Carolina is definitely in play. So
Do you think Joe was able to flip Georgia? Because I know we went up against the clock. We want to get off and see Kamala talk. Um, Georgia, Joe was able to flip Georgia. It went down to the razor wire. Do you think Georgia is still in play based off what you know, Rick? I know that's your second home. You got anything to say about that? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I think that is always in play because the thing about it is it goes back to people being like energized about voting. It's so many people that are just apathetic towards the voting process, and it's really getting them to understand that their vote matters. For whatever reason, people think that their one vote doesn't matter, even though they know 500 people that feel the same way without understanding the concept that all of these votes could change things. I think that the fact that Stacey Abrams has had such an impact in Georgia and she's been so influential in so many like different people's campaigns and everything that they have going on. She's such a household name that she has increased people's awareness of how important it is to vote. And even with her like not getting reelected and all the voting issues and
Yeah,
things like
she lost twice for the governor
Yeah.
for the seat. Yeah.
right, but some of that they were questioning the voter practices and things like that. So
They
now,
stole that first one from her. I think they definitely stole that first one from her. Yeah.
but that I think that angered a lot of people who were like, okay, so they wouldn't be trying to steal elections if this wasn't important, if governor wasn't important. So if governor's important, president's important, and I think it just brought more awareness to the importance of participating in the election process. And I mean, I hope, but
Yeah.
like you said, that might be another good state to actually try to, get our organizations more funding to get more, whatever voter registration events, whatever they need. I think a lot of problems too is for me to vote, it takes me like 5 minutes. I've never gone to vote and it took me a long time. Out in my neighborhood, there's so many
That's
polling places
right.
and so many polling seats and all these
Guess
things.
what? Guess what? It's easy to vote when the state is not really contentious. When I lived in Nebraska, I could vote in 2 minutes, right? Because it was primarily a red state. They had those small districts. If you remember when Obama first won, they used to have like he won like the city of Omaha, so there was like a little speck of blue in Nebraska. But in those states where it's not really highly contested, it's never a problem to vote. Where they have issues at is those swing states, and when you start to see things start to trend the different direction. That's why they started pulling those dirty tricks down in Houston and down in Dallas, because I saw, even though I said Texas is red, there was a certain trend where it was like, okay, is Texas turning purple? And like again, we always said before, the Republicans, conservatives, they're much more strategic than the Democrats. They play on offense, and we tend to play on defense. So the Democrats tend to play on defense. So I think Georgia, like I agree with you, Georgia is another state that we could consider. I think the probability of flipping North Carolina is more likely, and that's why I said that one first. But I do agree that Georgia is another one that's probably that we might be able to do something as well.
Right, but circling back to that, Democrats play defense and Republicans play offense. What I'm saying is when we vote here in Missouri, out in St. Charles County, we have like so many voting places and it's so many seats and so many poll, judges and things like that. Out in the city, they wait in line for hours. Like most elections, you cannot get in and out of there quickly. So it's also about city.
Yeah,
So they know in these cities with Democrats, you only get like 2 hours to leave work to go vote. You got to
Right.
get back. They know what they're doing.
yeah.
And really, and I will say something that I'm not gonna say it's a shock. It was just different. When I in Missouri, at least in Jackson County, Kansas City, you got notices every mail in the mail every time there's an election. It could just be for your local school board, but you got a notice saying you vote on Tuesday, section whatever date it is at this location.
Mm-hmm.
Since I've been registered in North Carolina, I've not received you. It's up to you to know where you go,
Yeah.
what the issues on the ballot are, and all that stuff. So it definitely varies.
It
Well,
definitely.
that sounds like an important thing to start with changing in North Carolina. Maybe
Yeah.
just making sure people know when the election dates are and where their polling place is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely, man. I think that is something that we need to talk to our people about. I like to see that idea carried out. If you are listening to this, you want to last people in North Carolina, you got an organization that's grassroots, that's on the street, holla at us. We definitely, throw some funds your way. So I think that we need to be, the point of the show is what? To empower and enlighten our people. And I think that's what we need to be talking about instead of just, yeah, we want to give our opinions. Sometimes we laugh, we have fun. But if we want to make a difference in our community so we can get the people right people in office so then we can hold them accountable to get the things that we want, we need to be strategic about what we do. So make sure y'all very strategic. Go to our go to our Instagram, click the link in our bio. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Click that bell icon on YouTube. Go to our website, www.manlistenshow.com, so you can listen to past episodes. Give us your feedback. What do you think about that strategy? Is another strategy you'd like to highlight? Let us know. We'll have you next time. Peace.
North Carolina, go ahead and raise up.